it's Spence, the evil genius, from Witch in the Laboratory with your lab secrets tip of the day. Well, today we'd like to continue our tutorial series, leaving off last time on the headlines theme and the appearance tab. We want to go now to the settings tab in our admin dashboard, where we'll find the general settings that you'll need to learn about in order to fully set up your new lab secret solution site. Now, while it's true that in a turnkey condition we give you almost everything you need ready to go, it's important for you to learn the basics so that you can also learn not only how to tweak your network, but how to modify and improve your network as time goes on. So let's jump right into it. Here underneath the settings tab, we've got first the general tab, and under general settings, this is where the guts of our site is going to be set up. First of all, the blog title and tagline, those are what are shown inside of the top header of the site when you don't use a visual logo such as a graphic image. And we have the first line in the big font is corresponding here with the blog title, and the second line is smaller text, and that corresponds with the tagline. If I change the wording here and then click on save changes, that will change likewise the site itself. Now, if you're using a logo image, these will probably not show up to the user, but it's important to put them in there because they do show up inside of the meta tag data as well as the HTML for the site itself. Really important because that's what Google will read. Remember, Google and the other search engines can't see images, or at least not see what they involve, but they can read the HTML. Next, you have these two URLs. Now, these really are important to leave alone when we deliver to you. If you, at the time of setting up your site, have not otherwise selected a domain name to point to your site, we give you a private IP address, which makes it really convenient because you can get your site all set up without having to worry about anybody discovering it accidentally. However, that IP address itself is something that most people ultimately change. So, when you do finally decide on a domain name, if you don't have one already, just make sure that your domain name is listed just as you see it here in both of these addresses. Next, you've got a decision here about what email address to use. Now, you can use any email you wish, and you can even set up your own, especially for use with your own new Lab Secret Solution site. However, most people go ahead and use the email that they've used in the past with their other sites or their customers, and this is the thing that's used for administrative purposes, including notices to new users and things of that nature. Next, you can go ahead and decide whether your site is allowing anyone to register. And the biggest reason for this is that some people have a site that they set up where they want to do it by invitation only. They don't really want to have the option on the registration page or on the login page for somebody to join the site. So if that's the case, you would uncheck it. However, for many people, you want it checked. Just to give you an idea what this looks like, here's a browser I've set up where we've got this login box, and this is the link I'm referring to. If you uncheck that box, basically this link disappears. And if you leave it checked, it allows people to go ahead and click, and then in most cases takes them to a registration page where they can go ahead and set up their own account. Now, you can always leave that subject to approval, which means that the admin of the site can always decide whether to let you in. I'm just referring to the fact that you can choose whether or not to even start the option process right there. All right, back to this. On the admin dashboard, we now got the time zone. This allows you to set the time zone for the site relative to wherever you think it's important. For example, in our case, we're in Chicago, and so we want all of our blog posts and pages and entries to be shown with Chicago time. While that's normally considered to be Central Standard, they use the universal time code as a reference. So in this particular case here on June 1st, at the time I'm making this video, the universal time is at 7:55 and 45 seconds. And that's relatively speaking about 5 hours ahead. You can see here local time is 14:55. Now you could change this just with the drop down box. It's very simple. Next thing you've got is the date format, which is a personal choice. Again, in America, we have a little different way of displaying our dates. We prefer to do the month and then the day and then the year. Of course, in Europe, they do it slightly different, which always makes me nuts on May 5th because it's 5/5/10 and I never know whether it's in Europe time or not. But your choice here, no problem at all. And there's a little documentation as well. Lastly, time format here, day you start. And this is the end of our time for this tutorial. See you on the next one.